What's going on, everybody? Good morning. It is a hangover Monday right now for Seahawks fans. Certainly a little bit of an unconventional hangover Monday, but when you lose, you do feel a little hungover the next day no matter what. I think that there are a lot of Seahawks fans that are taking the glass half full approach with that game. I think there are a lot of Seahawks fans that are finding positive things to hang on to, but a loss is a loss, and that was a winnable game yesterday that the Seahawks simply lost. And I gotta be honest, I really did not want to make this video after a Seahawks loss because it almost sounds like I'm saying that the loss matters less than an individual player and what that individual player is doing, which is something that I would never want to imply. But our first video this week is going to be talking about Sam Darnold. First, though, let me tell you guys about Sleeper. All right, guys, let's take a minute so I can tell you about Sleeper, a one-stop shop for all your sports needs. You can celebrate and chat on sports games in real time with other users. You can get the fastest scores, blazing fast sports news and sports alerts right at your fingertips. And of course, you can use Sleeper to play in fantasy leagues and win real money on picks contests. This is the way sports were meant to be enjoyed together. So download Sleeper today. Use promo code SBN to get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. And you can pair that with another promo they have right now where you can get a $20 entry free with no deposit required. So get both of those things going. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states and growing. So check out Sleeper today, get to it, and go have some fun with sports this year. All right, welcome back. So the Seahawks lost yesterday, but as I said in my post-game video and my post-game stream over on Bleacher Report, I saw something from Sam Darnold in that game that I hadn't seen yet in Seattle, and I was waiting to see. And a lot of people over the last couple weeks have been asking me, hey, when are you going to make a video talking about Sam Darnold? When are you going to go deeper into the Sam Darnold thing? When are you going to talk about how you didn't think Sam Darnold would be this good? I wanted to see what I saw yesterday. What I saw yesterday was in line with the kind of thing that we got, that we saw from Russell Wilson and Geno Smith over the last decade plus. So now that that game has happened, let's go ahead and make the video. Now, just to provide some context here, I have two tweets that we're going to put on screen here. This first one's from Nemhauser, the other one's from Baldwin. And both of these tweets are from before yesterday's game. Both of these tweets are from after the Cardinals game, so the first 4 games of the season. And both tweets convey similar things, ultimately. Basically, after that Cardinals game, Sam Darnold ranked first or near first in many major statistical categories, but not yards, not touchdowns, not passing attempts or anything like that. We're talking about the actual stats that are trying to really drill down to how good a player is. Not, oh, we're trying to figure out who won their fantasy football league. This is the real stuff. This is the stuff that I really care about when it comes to evaluating football players. You put all these things together, you cram them all together into a big mosaic of understanding, and you're going to start to gradually approach what is actually going on in a football game. So I made a video on Bleacher Report going over some of this last week, but at this point in time, he was first in PFF grade. He had 1 turnover-worthy play all season, so he was first there among starters, except for Joe Burrow because he only played a couple games. He was third in adjusted completion rate, second in the aggregated stat between EPA and CPOE. EPA is expected points added. CPOE is completion percentage over expected. Fifth in EPA per play. Third in success rate. 6th in passer rating. And when I was doing my research into some of this was with him having, I believe, the 4th highest ADOT, or the 4th highest air yards per attempt in the league. So basically, to get this down to what it's really trying to say, Sam Darnold was doing, and still is, don't get me wrong, but at this point in time was doing an elite job, being accurate, being efficient, avoiding turnovers, having successful plays, like all these things that really make up where the sausage gets made for quarterbacks. And this was, again, before yesterday. And think about how good Darnold was yesterday. We won't get these updated stats right now. We're not going to get them yet. Imagine where Sam Darnold is going to rank in some of these categories after yesterday. Now, he may add a 1 or 2 turnover-worthy plays. I'm not denying that. It's possible some of these categories, things are going to fall a little bit because he did throw the interception, and I have a really hard time blaming Sam Darnold for anything that happened yesterday, but I know some people are trying to do it, and you know, I love you Seahawks fans, but I got to be honest, I don't get you. I don't get you guys. I don't know how you could watch that game yesterday and think that Sam Darnold needs to do more than he did. Even his 1 turnover in that game, even the interception, was a very fluky play. If you want to say he should have done this or should have done that, okay, maybe, but the fact that that play was an interception is an enormous fluke. And I don't know. I'm not seeing a lot of acknowledgement from that. I'm just seeing a lot of, he needed to do more. Hard to do more in a game than Darnold did yesterday. So this is the first tweet. The other one, we have adjusted EPA plus PFF grade blend. And again, this was after last week. So again, the Buccaneers game is not even equated for here, but if you take a look at this aggregate, this very intriguing aggregate that Ben B. Baldwin likes to utilize, at this point in time, Sam Darnold was second, and he was second by a mile. Dak Prescott was way up at the top. Sam Darnold was second, and then there was a big drop-off to everybody else. So, quite simply, however you slice it, when it comes to the things that matter, like not yards, not touchdowns, not these box score stats that people use to determine fantasy football leagues, Sam Darnold, after 4 games, was playing like an elite quarterback in terms of his efficiency, in terms of doing what he was asked to do. But what we saw yesterday, that was something that I wasn't sure about. I didn't know if we could get that. What happens when the plan breaks down? What happens when you are asked to do something unreasonable? Because yesterday was the first game this season where the Seahawks got unbalanced in their offense. They ran the ball more than they passed it against the Niners and the Saints and the Cardinals. They did throw the ball more than they ran it against the Steelers, but it was very close. It was almost 50-50. It was like a couple more passing attempts. Yesterday was the first time this season where Sam Darnold actually had to put the team on his back, and he answered again and again and again. And I understand we sure wish he could have come through one more time there at the end. I get that. And I am somebody who believes that a big determining factor in what makes a truly great quarterback is the ability to come through at the end of a close game. And yeah, sure, if you want to be clinical about it, Sam Darnold didn't do that yesterday. But even that was definitely a situation where it just kind of felt like somebody upstairs decided, we don't want you guys to win this game. We're going to have a very, very fluky play go against you to make sure you don't win this game. And the point I'm trying to get to here, the running game was not bad yesterday, but the Seahawks were forced to be out of whack offensively. What we did yesterday, that is not the formula. The formula for this team is to run the ball, do play action, and let Darnold throw the ball a manageable number of times, like maybe 25 times a game on average, and just control the game. Be a game manager. And that was not the case yesterday, not at all. That was Sam Darnold. You got to go out there and make big throws, make big throws, make big throws over and over and over and over again. And it still might not be enough because the defense is that bad. And we just... Okay, I'm not necessarily going to blame anybody too much for yesterday because I understand they were losing guys left and right, injury, but still, I don't know if there's ever an excuse for being that inept defensively. But point I'm trying to get to here is that Sam Darnold got in that situation and he answered the bell. Yesterday's game could have been a massive blowout. I think that if Sam Darnold was the guy that I thought he was when we signed him, Tampa Bay would have just kind of piled on, and Tampa would have won this game by 3 touchdowns, and that didn't happen. So after what I saw yesterday, I was like, okay, it's time to make this video. I think all Seahawks fans have a pretty good understanding that Sam Darnold is playing well, but yesterday he just went to a different level. He looked like a top 10 quarterback in this league. And is he a top 10 quarterback in this league? I don't think so. But he's playing like it, and that matters more, right? I think we all understand that there's a distinction between how good a player is playing and whether or not that player is actually that good. Like Lamar Jackson hasn't been that good so far this year. CJ Stroud hasn't been good at all so far this year. I think most people would still consider those guys to be top 10 quarterbacks. At the very least, Lamar's probably considered universally a top 5 quarterback. But I don't know. I mean, the results haven't really been there so far this year. And CJ Stroud, double for him. So I don't know if Darnold's actually a top 10 quarterback, but he's playing like it right now. He's playing beyond that, honestly. And look, I want to be very clear here. I never want Sam Darnold to have to play the way that he played yesterday. I don't. Because that means the defense is playing really badly, or the running game has completely lost its ability to affect the game. If Sam Darnold ever has to play another game like that in his Seahawks career, something went wrong. And yesterday, something did go wrong. The defense couldn't stop anything. The defense couldn't even give mild resistance. So hopefully Sam Darnold can go back to playing games where he's having like 19 of 26 for 210 yards and 2 touchdowns. Hopefully he can get back to that. But the fact that he was able to come through in that spot where there's really nothing else to say except, okay, Sam, here's the ball. Go make big throws over and over and over again until either we win or time runs out or whatever. And that he was able to do it over and over and over again, that elevates him in my mind. And even before this game, I was getting the sense, okay, Darnold's better than I thought. I still didn't know if I would really consider him a franchise quarterback. But right now, looking at it, and of course things can change, he looks like a franchise quarterback to me. When you give him the opportunity to make plays, he's making plays. And obviously, he's not going to be perfect. But perfection should never be an expectation for any of these guys. And think about how we're paying him. We're paying him well below average for a starting QB in this league. The only quarterbacks who are making less than Sam Darnold that are starting quarterbacks are either on rookie deals or are Daniel Jones and I think Justin Fields, maybe 1 or 2 other guys. Very few. So, once again, the Seahawks find themselves in this position, and this is the final thing I'm going to say for this video. Once again, Russell Wilson, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, Geno Smith, 2022, 2023, 2024, and now this year, Sam Darnold, 2025, the Seahawks find themselves in a position where they have a very good quarterback who you can win with, and maybe even occasionally you can win because of. Do they have the team to support that quarterback, though? After yesterday, I'm not quite sure the answer is yes. And the answer to that question has not been yes for quite some time. Russell Wilson flirted with MVP caliber seasons every year I just listed, right? He was at least part, even if it was a distant part of the MVP conversation, those 4 years. Geno Smith, I mean, he did actually get an MVP vote in 2022, but 2023, 2024, still a really good quarterback, still playing at a high level. And none of those years, all of those years, I just listed out, 7 years total? We either barely made the playoffs or we didn't. We were fighting just to get in. And when you have a really good quarterback, you've done the hard part. That's the hard part. That's the thing that a lot of these other teams don't get, right? Like if you're the Cleveland Browns, you've had multiple seasons in recent years where you've had probably the best defense in football. You've had a really good offensive line. You've had good running backs in the past, but you haven't been able to find that really good quarterback. If you did, you'd probably contend for a Super Bowl. And for us to have it year after year after year, it's really frustrating we can't get the rest of it down. And the good news is we've got 12 games left to get it down right now. But through 5 games, it feels very familiar. It's an okay team, but ultimately, they need their quarterback to kind of drag them to where they're going. They don't get to kind of ride with the quarterback. The quarterback has to go above and beyond. I mean, think about the great games that Russell Wilson played as a Seahawk. Think about the great games that Geno Smith played as a Seahawk. You will find that quite a decent chunk of those games ended in Seahawks losses. And quite a few of other ones resulted in very narrow wins. Because it wasn't just that the quarterbacks in those games played extraordinarily well. It was they needed to play that well just to give their team a chance. And sometimes it wasn't even enough because nothing would have been enough. And then think about what happened yesterday. So I don't want this to happen again because here's the thing. This is not going to last forever. The Seahawks are on a very good run of finding high-level quarterback play from unlikely, unexpected places. Russell Wilson, 3rd-round pick. Geno Smith, career backup, bouncing around the league. And now it looks like, anyway, I'll grant you it's been 5 games, but it looks like we're going there with Sam Darnold. Okay? So one day, the day will come when we can't find that quarterback. So while we are actually doing well here, sure would like to get the team that can actually support the quarterback enough for us to actually win at the highest level. See you guys later, go Hawks. There's going to be another video that's kind of a companion piece to this video in a couple hours. See you guys then.